Well, hello there. Today, we're gonna let my buddy Zeus pick stocks. Zeus is a Siberian Husky. And the reason for this experiment is I want to see how a portfolio of stocks selected by a dog, totally randomly, with no kind of mental control, at least that I'm aware of on his part, would do compared to a portfolio of stocks that was put together by a person, moi. And I want to look over time and just see whether the randomness of a doggo's portfolio might perform as well or better or maybe worse than whatever I can do on my own. So the key here is that this experiment has to be set up in a way that's totally random. So the stocks that he picks are going to be generated in a way where I don't really have any control over what he picks, and he has no idea what he's doing, obviously. He's a smart dog, but I don't think that stock analysis and research is really up his alley. So here's how I did it. To keep things really random, I set up an experiment where I was gonna feed him, I did this actually already, but I fed him 10 treats of tuna fish, each one separately. I put it in his dog bowl, and you will see this coming up. And what I did was I had a timer, and it was a random number generated. So every time he ate the tuna treat, it would generate a stream of random numbers, and when he finishes eating, I would stop the timer. So at the moment that I stopped the timer, it would stop on a random number, and that number is between 1 and 508. And if you're wondering why I have this random number of 508, it's not random. That's how many stocks there are in the S&P 500 index fund by Vanguard. So since there are 508, I just set the random number generator to pick a number in between there. So whatever that's at when he finishes eating the tuna is the number I go with, and that number corresponds to a number in the S&P 500. By the way, I did this experiment a little while ago, but I have not even looked up, so I have no idea what the stocks are yet, but towards the end of this video, I am actually gonna go and see which numbers correspond to which stocks. So once I've figured out what the stocks are that correspond to the numbers that Zeus picked, I am gonna put those into Google Sheets. I'm gonna make a portfolio watch list, and I'm just gonna watch that over time. So there are 3 different things that influence the randomness of these stock picks. So the first thing is how long the dog is eating the tuna fish. So he might be eating it might take him 2 seconds or 3 seconds or 5 seconds or 7 seconds. So that's kind of random and up to him. And then the second thing that's random is the random number generator. So that's completely computer generated, and it's constantly moving. And then the third thing is I have to push the button to start and stop the timer. And so my own reflexes and timing have a sort of randomness to them. So I think when you choose any one of those things, there's a degree of randomness. And when you put them all together, then it's very, very random. And there's no mental activity, and that's the key. There's no thinking or research that goes into this. So why do a test like this? Why do this experiment? And I'll tell you, and I think that there's some deeper meaning that anybody who invests can glean from this. So the first thing is anybody can invest in a passively managed portfolio of stocks in the S&P 500. So you can buy shares of an index fund or an index fund ETF. It's practically free. It's so cheap. So that is a perfect way to invest if you don't have any time and you don't feel like researching stocks. So we'll use that as a benchmark for the stock market's return. Now, another thing that one can do is pick stocks themselves, and that takes a lot of research, reading. Maybe you read annual reports, or you read news stories, or you do your own investigative research into a company to learn about which one you want to invest in. That takes a lot of time, and not everybody has the want or the wish to spend that much time, and then those who want to might not even know how to do it. It's a very time-intensive, laborious pursuit, and so there are some people who like it, but a lot of people who don't. So that is something that we want to see, is the time invested actually worth it? And the third thing is, how would something totally random, like letting a dog pick stocks, perform? Because one thing I'm interested in learning about is if the stocks that I pick through the hours and hours and days and weeks and months of research, if those don't do any better than Zeus's picks, then I need to step back and say, well, what am I spending all this time learning about stocks? Or maybe I should just do some, let him do the stock picking. Now I've taken a look at all the random numbers generated while Zeus ate his treats. And I've taken a look at each of the numbers and found out which stock each one corresponded to in the S&P 500. So the first number was 370. That corresponds to Fortune brands. Then the next number he picked was 173, and that corresponds with Constellation brands. 395 is Halliburton, 96 is American Express, 341 is Cardinal Health, 119 is Chubb, 384 is Gartner, 86 is Goldman Sachs, 305 is International Paper, and 377 is Royal Caribbean Cruises. So those are all 10 of his randomly picked stocks. And what I'm going to do is put these together in a future video into a watch list portfolio, and we will see how well each of these stock picks does, and we will compare it to the S&P 500 index and also to my stock picking, and we will see if it's better to rely on the index fund, on your own careful thought and research and investigation into stock picking, or if it's better off to just let Zeus pick stocks. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you haven't already, please tap the like button and also subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. That way you will get notifications the next time I make a video. Thank you so much. I will see you in the next video.